Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
We welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, July 1st. I'm Gary Stevens. It is the first Thursday of the month, which means in our 10:30 segment, we have a chance to catch up with what is going on in law enforcement in Allegan County with Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker. He joins us via the Zoom connection from the Sheriff's Department's headquarters in the old Hayworth Seat complex that's been repurposed as the county jail and the county Sheriff's Department's headquarters. Frank, good morning and welcome back to WHTC's Talk of the Town.
Good morning, Gary.
Glad you are with us. And if you have a question for Sheriff Frank Baker, and he'll be joined by Sheriff's Lieutenant Brent Ensfield in a few moments. They'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Frank, before we get to Lieutenant Ensfield and talking about some of the other things, I do want to approach a couple of things with you. And I want to bring an argument that has come up in the wake of what happened yesterday in Pennsylvania with the decision by that state Supreme Court to overturn the conviction of Bill Cosby on sexual assault charges. Some are saying that decision will make it tougher for those who are victims of sexual assault to come forward, saying that they don't feel that they don't get justice. How do you respond as a law enforcement officer to the argument that those who are victims of sexual assaults, they can't bring their case forward. They can't step forward because of the fact that let's put it this way: they're not going to get a fair hearing, or they're not going to hear what they're not going to feel as if they're going to get the justice that they seek.
Yeah, I think that situation with that case in particular was not typical. They had depositions done, I'm assuming, in the civil realm and regarding the civil lawsuits and stuff that were filed, which isn't typical with the bulk of the cases that we see. And obviously, there may have been some things done in that civil proceeding and the depositions that were taken and decisions made that probably law enforcement wouldn't necessarily agree with, but it is what it is. And I think I saw a news clip this morning that and I think it'd be typical that any kind of an agreement or arrangement that's made pertaining to a deposition, that would be done in writing so that everybody in both parties and both sides understand what the ramifications of a deposition under an agreement such as that would be. So, I would hope that it certainly doesn't discourage a victim from coming forward. That is not typical of the way the way the cases typically proceed through the court proceedings. Typically, the criminal cases are handled and adjudicated first, and so that you would never even have to deal with that realm. But like I said, I would hope that does not discourage a victim from coming forward, because we do feel that we do a good job of making sure we can bring these cases to justice and hold these people that are guilty responsible.
Yeah, I really was more speaking about how the Allegan County Sheriff's Department would handle somebody coming forward saying, "Hey, I've been a victim. I'm making this accusation," and feeling as if they can come forward in Allegan County and not have the stigma of not. They're not going to, people aren't going to believe them and stuff like that. How do you reassure victims that, hey, they are getting a fair shake?
Yeah, and I think working with our investigators, they will understand that and feel that. Obviously, we take these types of cases very seriously. I spent a bulk of my career investigating those types of cases as a detective, and I'm very passionate about that. I currently still to this day serve on the board of directors for our Children's Advocacy Center, which deals with a lot of sexual assaults involving children. So it's something that we're very concerned about. We are in fact working on some public information that is in regards to human trafficking in this very topic, just to reassure victims that we do believe them. We do want to help bring justice. We want to provide services for them so that they can feel that they are getting not only from the sheriff's office, but the prosecutor's office, who are also involved with this, a feeling that, we will be on their side. We will support them, and we'll get them the services they need and bring the perpetrators to justice.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that particular subject up with you, Frank, because of the fact that the story that came out of Pennsylvania yesterday has brought it again to the forefront. If you have a question for Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker or Sheriff's Lieutenant Brent Ensfield, they'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Independence Day weekend, holiday for many people. For those in your department, I have a funny feeling no holidays at all. It's going to be extra work, not only on the roads, but also in the waters as well.
Yes, it's going to be a very busy weekend here in Allegan County. We want everybody, of course, to enjoy the holiday weekend, have a good time beyond our beautiful waterways, and enjoy the weather that looks like it's going to be good this weekend, not like last weekend. And but we do want to make sure that they do that safely. And not only safely for themselves, but safely for the other boaters and stuff that are out there. This weekend will be Operation Dry Water, which I know we talked about with Sergeant Wagner last month. And I just want to remind everyone that do be cognizant of drinking and operating a boat, because we're going to be watching. And we want you on the water. We want you enjoying it. We just want you to do so safely.
Fireworks and the relaxation of the fireworks laws a few years ago, done by the legislature more as an economic matter than a safety matter, because of the fact that especially in the border counties in Michigan and the borders of Ohio, Indiana, and Wisconsin, they were seeing that a lot of people were going across the state line to get fireworks that from states that had more relaxed standards than Michigan at the time. It was hurting financially in that regard. It has relaxed it, but it has opened a Pandora's box of enforcement about when could be fired, what could be fired, trying to pin down who's firing off the fireworks illegally. That, let's put it this way, it makes the job you and other law enforcement officers have on various levels just that much tougher, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and I'll probably let Lieutenant Ensfield talk a little bit about that. But yeah, certainly, I mean, we're chasing down those calls all weekend long, and we'll be doing that this weekend, I'm sure. I don't think this year will be any different than any other year in regards to that. But I'll let Lieutenant Ensfield talk a little bit about some of those things, and he's a better expert on this than I am, for sure.
All right, Wes. As Frank Baker swings over the Zoom to Lieutenant Brent Ensfield, who'll be joining us. If you have a question for the lieutenant, he'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450. Brent, good morning and welcome back to WHTC. And trying to pinpoint where the fireworks are being shot, especially when they're being shot off not in the right time and maybe not in the right intensity.
Absolutely.
Is it a case, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, sometimes of trying to find a needle in a haystack?
Well, last year it was just because a lot of the fireworks were canceled, and people had their own independent fireworks shows, that fireworks time was almost sounded like a war zone in some areas where each family was setting off a group of fireworks. Typically, what our calls are neighbor conflicts where neighbors aren't communicating with each other, and they're lighting fireworks off where the neighbor may have a sensitive dog, they may have a vet that's sensitive to post-traumatic stress disorder, that may be sensitive to the loud booms, the shooting off this close proximity to our people's houses. Those are a lot of our typical calls, and then the hours they're shooting them off, they may stretch that beyond what is probably reasonable. We find that neighbors talk it out, usually alleviate some of the conflicts, especially if we can go out there and talk to each side of it. They are usually pretty compliant and or sorry after the fact, when we are speaking with them. Some of the other dangers that we commonly see is children, adults will buy these and let their children light them off. We see the improvised fireworks where somebody tries to make them better or try to make the sparkler bombs and stuff, so forth. Those are sometimes very powerful devices. When we run into those are very time consuming for us also, just because we have to call the bomb squad because of the nature of those. So those drag on our resources also. And then you get the horseplay where somebody's throwing, firecrackers at each other or shooting bottle rockets off at another subject, thinking that, there is fireworks and they're not going to hurt anybody. But, sometimes alcohol has a play in that where it takes the good judgment away from that setting also. So those are our typical calls that we receive on a, weekend, holiday weekend of 4th of July.
616-395-1450. If you have a question for Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker or Sheriff's Lieutenant Brent Ensfield. I'm going to put Brent, I'm going to take this on a personal note, but then I want to relay it to Allegan County. Where I live in Jenison, I've been there since 09. And from time to time, I hear noises. It's like gunshots. Wait a minute. What's gunfire? My part of the area. Well, I found out last month that I'm about 2 miles away from the Bend area open space. And according to what I've been told by the Ottawa County Parks Department, open space means you can fire off guns in that area. Do we have any quote unquote open spaces in Allegan County that if somebody hears some fire, some gunfire and kind of wonder what's going on, actually they're legal to do that? Is there spaces in Allegan County that can be considered open spaces and somebody can shoot off a gun?
Well, pretty much. I don't know if there's any closed spaces per se, really. I mean, that's a typical call we get. Also, is that there's conflicts between neighbors where somebody buys a parcel, puts in a firing range, and isn't communicating very well with the rest of the neighborhood, and that's sometimes commonly alleviated by, speaking with a neighbor saying, hey, we're putting in a firing range or, a personal range, of course. And talking to neighbors and ensuring them that they have proper backstop and stuff. That's a typical call we do get. With the firearm laws, it, pretty much you have to fire them in a non-reckless manner. There's really not offsets in those laws. They're kind of old laws, archaic. And there are really not any offsets. With hunting, there's the offset where you can't hunt near a residence, but with target practice, there's not. So that is a typical call we've been receiving more and more over the last couple of years, where there's some neighbor conflicts. We have had a lot of residences shot with stray rounds and stuff also, where the improper backstops. We've had livestock shot and killed from pretty great distances with some stray bullets and so forth.
616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with Sheriff's Lieutenant Brent Ensfield.
Hey, you don't hear not too much about crack cocaine, so you looks like you guys are doing your job. Thank you.
Appreciate the call. Crack has been, shall we say, overtaken. And to be honest with you, meth is still there. The demon is still. It might be sleeping, but it's a very light sleep, to use an old line from a Sherlock Holmes book I read many years ago. But yeah, drug trafficking is always a problem, Brett.
Yeah, I worked on our drug team for quite a while, and specifically when meth manufacturing was going on quite a bit. We've seen get away from that, and the importation of crystal meth is still a large problem. It's being distributed in the area, and the prices are relatively low. So, but we're still running into instances of that for sure. And then also the heroin and fentanyl. I've been seeing an increase in those over the last several months also.
Because it's been to be honest with you, I think the controlled substances has been eclipsed in terms of visibility by the opioid and the opiate problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think you talk about any of these drug issues and stuff, and it definitely is there's other issues going on in the world today where some of those issues are eclipsed and stuff, as you said. So,
Brent, I wanted to keep you on for a moment or so because I want to ask you, as the one who most of the time speaks before the Saugatuck City Council on a monthly basis about policing. I believe it's been 3 years now since the Allegan County Sheriff's Department took over policing the city of Saugatuck. Talk a little bit about that period and adjusting to the extra or the new responsibilities and trying to police an area that right now it's going to be busy because a lot of people want to enjoy many of the things that Saugatuck does have to offer.
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity for several of our deputies to be able to be part of that community down there. That's gives us an opportunity to have a different policing aspect. Out in the county, we go from call to call to call with large amount of drive time. We've been able to make contacts with several business owners down there, community members, and being more involved with the community. And address some of the issues a little bit, and just be part of some of these large events and so forth. So it's been a good time for all. It's been a little bit of adjustment with some of the different large scale events and so forth that we're become part of and have to plan and so forth. But yeah, everything's been going very smoothly, and can't complain at all. So.
I know Saugatuck doesn't have it right now. Holland and other communities do the social district policing situation now. Saugatuck tried that earlier this year. They might bring it back later on, according to its mayor, Mark Becken. Talk about trying to police a social district, especially in the times when people would be wanting to take advantage of the social district. This
spring we had very few issues with it. We were able to work with the bars and so forth, and in the city, they put out a good messaging program, and also had a very well planned event, cups and so forth with that. So I think all that planning that went into that led to a successful program this spring. Obviously the summertime down there brings just a large scale mixture of travel and outside people from the area, and I just think it was decided by the city council and so forth along the partnership with everybody else to put a pause on it for the summertime, just for the potential problems and stuff that may arise out of that. So, which I think was probably a good judgment. So.
We got time for one more very brief call. Good morning. You're on the line with Ottawa County Sheriff's Lieutenant Sheriff's Lieutenant Brad Ensfield.
Yeah, since you guys, they legal marijuana, how do you guys pull somebody over and see if they're under the influence of drugs? Thank you.
Appreciate the call, but I have a funny feeling, Frank, that particular call might have to be waited until, we'll bring it up with the Holland Department of Public Safety Captain Keith Mulder. We'll have to do that. Unfortunately, I think it'll have to be tomorrow because we are out of time on this particular segment, Frank. But indeed, it's a challenge. That's something we can probably talk about next month when we get together on this. Allegan County Sheriff Frank Baker, Sheriff's Lieutenant Brent Ensfield, want to thank you both very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town. Sheriff Baker, look forward to chatting with you again next month. And Brent, thank you again, and look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Frank Baker and Brent Ensfield from the Allegan County Sheriff's Department.